is Michaela Ward coming to you from Rock Valley News. First, I have an interesting story coming from Turkey. This past Monday, Turkey decided to block Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for most of its users because of an image of a Turkish prosecutor being held by militants during a hostage standoff, which later resulted in his death. These sites were inaccessible for most of its users, and the service providers got an order from Turkey to block Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube permanently. Now moving over to Guam, a marriage license application from the first same-sex couple was denied on April 8th by Department of Public Health and Social Services clerk, who refused to accept the application filed by Loretta Pangilinan and Kathleen Auguro. Under Guam law, a marriage license is only issued to a couple of opposite sex, and Pangilinan and Auguro's attorney Todd Thompson said that the couple later plans to take their case to court. Switching over to U.S. news, Cleveland cop Michael Brillo went on trial last Monday on 2 counts of voluntary manslaughter of Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams during a high-speed car chase back in November 2012. Brillo was found to have shot his gun at the suspects 49 times, and the court has to decide whether or not all of his shots were justified. Brillo's defense team argued, however, that all of his shots were justified, even though Russell and Williams were each shot more than 20 times. Brillo's fate has not yet been released, but he could face up to 25 years if convicted. Lastly, for a more heart-wrenching story, 7 children and their father died on April 7th in Maryland from an accidental carbon monoxide poisoning. Their father, Rodney Todd, had 5 girls and 2 boys. The electricity had been shut off in their home, and Rodney went to the nearest Lowe's and bought a gasoline-powered generator for their basic household needs. The police then found all 8 members of the family dead in their beds, having succumbed to carbon monoxide poisoning. One of Rodney's closest friends, named Hardy, said that the children were joyful, respectful, and a reflection of their father, who was very kind-hearted. This event was very devastating for her because this family was like family to Hardy. Now coming up next is Nicole Tupper with your state and local news.
Thank you, Michaela. This is Nicole Tupper with your state and local news.
A private plane returning from the NCAA championship game in Indianapolis crashed in a central Illinois field on Tuesday, killing all 7 members on board, including Illinois State University's associate head basketball coach and a deputy athletics director. All 7 victims died from blunt force trauma resulting from the crash. Illinois State University's president, Larry Dietz, confirmed the news in an email to students, faculty, and staff and said, "Words cannot fully express the grief that is felt in the wake of such a tragedy. We move between shock and profound sadness." The National Transportation Safety Board was investigating, but there was no initial word on the cause of the crash. 1 person was killed and 11 others were injured Thursday night when at least 1 tornado ripped through the small Illinois town of Fairdale. 67-year-old Geraldine Schultz was identified as the deceased, and others suffered what appeared to be non-life-threatening injuries. 15 to 20 homes were destroyed, and trees, power lines, and debris covered the ground. Many homes were shifted off their foundation or left without roofs. Homes were evacuated, and the Red Cross and Salvation Army established a shelter at a local high school. Local resident Al Zamato, 61, said his town looked like a landfill. Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner was traveling Friday morning to survey the damage. And now for the local Rock Valley news. Dennis Fulrath was not sure he would win 1 election, let alone 2 on Tuesday. Fulrath was elected to the Rock Falls High School Board and the Sauk Valley Community College Board of Trustees and knew he had a decision to make. Fulrath decided to act on Sauk Valley Community College's Board of Trustees for his 6-year term. The Rock Falls High School Board now has 45 days to appoint someone to the seat Fulrath declined. Though his position for election was a 4-year term, the new candidate will serve as a 2-year term and be up for re-election again in 2017. Jana Jacobs and Merle Gallrap also were voted in on Tuesday's election, and Fulrath says he will endorse Roger Carlson and Neil Folgers for consideration for his replacement. The City of Rock Falls passed a sales tax increase at Tuesday's election to help pay for road work. The tax is called the Local Option Sales Tax and will bring a half-cent increase to merchandise bought in the city. City officials said doubling the annual revenue stream was necessary to make a meaningful difference in fixing the roads. Mayor Bill Westcott backed the increase, noting that had it failed, the city would have tried its best to fix the roads, but it's likely residents wouldn't have been happy with the results. Across the river in Sterling, the notion failed at a vote of 427 to 504. Sterling's Mayor Skip Lee says the city is simply running out of options.
After the short commercial break, we'll be back with meteorologist Chelsi Blair for this week's weather forecast.
There's nothing on TV.
I'm so bored.
I'll text the guys and see what they're doing.
Try this, Nicole. Here you go.
We got that.
It all starts with a kick. Welcome back. This is meteorologist Chelsi Blair coming at you with the weather forecast for the week. First up, we have the world weather broadcast. Today we see some mild temperatures around the world with 79 degrees in Hong Kong, 79 degrees in Cairo, 79 degrees in Rio de Janeiro, with a low of 30 degrees in Moscow. As you can see, we are getting ready to break out our summer clothes and put away our winter parkas. Next up, we have the weather in the United States. We have various temperatures here in the United States today. In the south, you would think that it's summertime because Phoenix, Arizona has a high of 89 degrees, Dallas, Texas has a high of 86 degrees, and Orlando, Florida has a high of 79 degrees. And up in the north, it's a little cold, so you better put that sweatshirt back on. In Seattle, we have a high of 57 degrees. New York, it's a high of 52 degrees. And in Minneapolis, it's only a high of 44 degrees. And now for your very own Rock Valley weather. And here is our Sunday to Sunday forecast for the week. We have Sunday with a high of 60 degrees, Monday with a high of 62 degrees, and then Tuesday through Saturday, you better get out your umbrellas because we're going to be getting some rain with a high of 68 degrees. And on Sunday, we're going to have a beautiful day with a few clouds in the sky and a high of 65 degrees. That was today's weather forecast. I'm meteorologist Chelsi Blair, and next up is the sports after this short commercial break.
You do not want to go in there.
Nicole, did you not spray the Trapple Crap before you took a crap in my toilet?
What's that?
It's sitting right behind the toilet. Look, I'll show you. See? Trapple Crap for all your crapping needs. Welcome back. This is Chelsi Blair again with your sports. On Monday night, the men's NCAA basketball championship game was played in Indianapolis, Indiana. The Dukes claimed their fifth national title, winning the game 68-63. Okafor, the likely first pick in the NBA draft this year, got outplayed by the Badgers center Frank Kaminsky. But he came through like a veteran at the end of the game when the pressure was the highest, scoring 2 straight buckets to turn the at one point 9-point deficit into an 8-point lead with 1 minute and 22 seconds left in the game. Coach K claimed his fifth national title, which put him alone in second place on the all-time list behind John Wooden. After the game, he said, "Our bench was spectacular, and like we said about 2 months ago, 8 is enough. 8 is enough." They won by 8 points. On Tuesday night, the women's NCAA basketball championship game was played in Tampa, Florida, where the UConn won their third straight title, winning the game 63-53. The two-time AP Player of the Year saved her best games for the brightest lights. Breanna Stewart had 15 rebounds and 8 points. She earned Most Outstanding Player of the Final Four honors for the third time, making her the first woman to achieve that. She stated that when she came to UConn, her goal was to win 4 championships. She is now 1 title away from being the first woman to win 4 straight championships. Stewart has been a huge reason why the Huskies have won 3 consecutive titles. As the basketball season ended, the MLB season opened up all over the country this week, starting with the St. Louis Cardinals defeating the Chicago Cubs 3-0 in a loss Sunday night in the Major League opener. Wainwright was on his game, and he held the Cubs scoreless over 6 innings of work with 6 strikeouts and 0 walks in his superb effort. Lester, in his debut as a Cub, made it through just 5.1 innings, allowing 3 earned runs on 8 hits and 2 walks, while striking out 6. On Monday night, the Chicago White Sox were defeated by the Kansas City Royals. Samardzija, the White Sox pitcher, started the game out with a strikeout but couldn't hold his ground as he walked 3 batters and gave up 6 hits in the 10-1 loss. And now for your local Rock Valley sports. The Rock Falls Rockets girls softball team had a busy week this week by playing 5 games, including the big rival of the Sterling Golden Warriors and their other rivals, the Morrison Phillies and the Stillman Valley Cardinals. The boys baseball team also played 3 big games this week where they came out with 2 wins and 1 loss. Nolan Moeller, a junior from Rock Falls High School, was named Athlete of the Week. He had 3 hits and 3 RBIs in the Rockets' 11-8 win over Freeport on March 30th. The next day, he had 2 doubles and scored 3 times in a 13-6 win over Mendota. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow morning for more of your Rock Valley local news. This is Chelsi Blair, signing off.